right, so no Hunter on this day, so I had to sub him out, and since it's normally the handsome Hunter on here, I had to sub him out for a Devin, which, not bad. Devin's 6'3", works in finance, so ladies, this is as good as Hunter or better. Yeah, Devin's one of my clients. He's a great deadlifter. I would say he's probably right on the cusp of like 500 pounds on deadlift right now, but that's like untrained. Before we get him going, he's gonna pull a lot more. He's going to be doing his first powerlifting competition in April with the team. And on this day, since I didn't have Hunter and I was doing something that I would have a client do, which is pause deadlifts, I subbed him in. And so we worked in together doing pause deadlifts. And one of the first things I showed him on this day was like, hey, man, don't take your warm up slow. That's something that I've just seen over the years with great powerlifters, but also my coach, Pete Rubish, always told me is like, when he was lifting with the Lily Bridges and all those guys and having deadlift parties, like the contest started with one plate on the bar. How fast could you move 135? And so, trying to teach them fast off the floor, even with these warm ups. And especially if you do pause deadlifts, you don't necessarily have to pause your warm ups. You still just want to explosively move through those, which I really feel like you started to get here. You can see him popping right there. He does a good job of really like yanking that bar off the floor with violence, which is awesome. Just trying to teach him how to get his entire body tight while he does that. He's got some long limbs and some great deadlift leverages, so just need to take advantage of that full body tightness. And I think he's going to be easily a 600-pound natural puller. I liked how my deadlifts looked on this day. I'm getting a nice round upper back, good core bracing, so it felt pretty good. Devin's gonna do his pause deadlifts with 375, and if the voiceover wasn't running, you'd hear me in the background criticizing every single pause. Because my goal with these with lifters, as per how I was taught, 1 to 2 inches off the floor tops, and 2-second pause. The hardest thing about pause deadlifts, in my opinion, pause squats are like this too. Maybe bench pauses even, it always feels like it's so much longer in your head. Like the pause feels like it's like 5 seconds long, and it's like maybe two. So he did his set, and I was I criticized it, so I said, all right, I'll show you on 485 what I want him to look like. And I always coach it as just flex your lats and your quads and brace your core. That alone will break the floor. So then you kind of get into this nice little start position where you're just barely off the floor in that flex position. And that's kind of what I'm looking for with these pauses for him. I've had him do pauses that were at the knee, but we started from the 13-inch wagon wheel, so there's value to that as well. I think especially for him with how long he is. But really, these should be something to get your starting position on deadlift absolutely locked in, and it builds a ton of lower back strength, to be honest. And when I did them today, I did 2 sets of 5 with 600. Devin did 2 sets of 5 with 375. I definitely felt my upper back because, again, I use my lats as the main tool to engage that first pull off the floor. So this is my first set with 600. Again, I did 2x5. Actually, in the video, we're going to see 3 sets because there's just a recording from another angle. But I was pretty happy with these. My goal was to not deadlift 700 or 800 pounds today. My strength is super peaked. I've never felt stronger. It feels really good. You want to play with it all the time. And I have that contest coming up March 14th where we're going to do the 13-inch wagon wheels, 705 for reps. Last week, I pulled 705 from the wagon wheels for 3 reps. It felt super easy, RPE 6-7. I want to say I'd be able to do 10 reps in that competition. We'll see if I even need to. The thing about a strongman comp is you only do as many reps as you need to win. But I want to win that event. But I thought it was a smart angle today for the training to instead do 600 pounds, pause reps 2x5, so equivalent of 10 reps total. Just allows me to use less weight, which gives my hips a break. My hips have been feeling super beat up from heavy deadlifts. I did the 705. I did some block pulls at like 815 pounds. So this was a nice break, and I can tell you because I'm recording this the next day, my hips feel significantly better. They were definitely very pleased that I took a break from doing the super heavy weights, but it was still really good time under tension. Still really good way to build my lower back. Probably also pausing right about where I would have to start on the 13-inch deadlift. I think a regular deadlift from the floor is 10.5 inches, so 13 inches is just a couple inches off the floor. So I feel like this could be a useful exercise for what I'm doing. So, that seemed good. Did something smart here. I did not wear my glasses on these because every time I hit the floor with weights, usually on like the third rep, I lose my glasses. Those poor glasses have been through so much. So So yeah, I didn't do it. And you can see, like with the pause deadlifts, one of the things that happens is you lose a lot of speed through your lockout. So it was definitely good to do it with this weight. And if 600 pounds starts to get sticky in lockout, that's kind of nice. That's what I'm working through. So that felt good. These days have been great. We've been doing Saturdays over at Rise in Gurnee. That's the gym I train at probably the most. But I teach classes and I coach at this gym here, which is Unit Strength in Lindenhurst, and it's a great gym. And I've been bringing my team on Sundays, as many of them can come, and we've kind of just done a takeover at this gym. They have really good equipment, good combo racks, great bars. This was a Kabuki deadlift bar, so that was awesome. And then for the rest of this training session, what I did was I worked one of the other events, which is Zercher Yoke. Zercher Yoke can be a bit of like just a pain tolerance event for sure. I only worked up to that was 400 pounds. I didn't try to sprint with it. It was literally just to get some time in that event. I feel pretty confident in that one. Then we worked some grip training. So we went to the axle bar, and there's a couple axle bars in this gym. This is a heavier one. I don't know what the bar weighs. Let's pretend it's 45 pounds because that's about what it feels like. It actually could be more for all I know. But me and Devin worked our way up to the highest that we could, double overhand, no straps. Did use some chalk. It is a super smooth bar. And the goal was just to get as much weight as we could, maybe hold it up for 10 seconds. My grip's gotten a lot better, but it's been the biggest thing holding back my deadlift for powerlifting competitions. And I know that if I do want to continue in strongman, that grip is going to be a big thing for me. So it was good to get some grip work in. Both of us struggled with this weight, which is maybe 300 and something pounds. So we had to tap in the Trinity, the Trinity effect. So we're like, Trinity, you got to come make us look bad on this. So she took that one red, no problem. Jumps over to what probably 90 kgs, no problem. And now she has boy weight on the bar, straight up just making us look
Yeah.
bad. Trinity is probably one of the most competitive powerlifters I've ever had the pleasure of working with. She did just do her first powerlifting meet, and she totaled over 1,000 pounds on her first try. She's got a 430-pound deadlift. Look at her 10-second hold, no problem. So yeah, it was fun to have her jump in there.